Welcome listeners to LENZO'S MEMOIRS. On this episode, history will not be complete if LENZO'S MEMOIRS does not do an episode for the GOAT in football, the GOAT of football, Lionel Messi. That final was off the charts. The God of mercy came through for Messi. The emotional turmoil, the mental strength, it was just glorious. As in, it gives this feeling that it was predetermined, predestined. What will be must be kind of World Cup. Listeners, let's go through it. To Qatar themselves winning the World Cup against the English and all the halubalu of was it right or wrong to the spectacular tournament we've been given. We have been given the tournament. I mean, nothing gives me more joy when English correspondents are saying that it is the greatest final. You know, the English are loudmouths, right? They do. They didn't see anything other than that to say though, because it was a true spectacle, and it cannot be more befitting. You know, yeah. Some people are saying the discourse about the greatest, the GOAT in football will continue. In a way, yes, because greatness is not just one thing; it's era based. But the greatness or the greatest in football has been largely between two people, Ronaldo and Messi. And I say this and I make this boldly because it is the fans, the supporters of Messi, Ronaldo that have been setting, the targets. If he does not win a World Cup, he will never be considered a GOAT. And I remember when Messi lost in 2014, people like me that was a fan took it on the chin. Ronaldo now won in 2016, won the European Cup, and he won the Euro League. Messi's 2018 World Cup wasn't fantastic. But if you really go by what has happened in 2022, you see, the special thing about Messi winning this World Cup, it's that the fact that it's a first in so many ways. It is truly the first Winter World Cup. The first Winter World Cup in the world since they've been having World Cups. It's records galore. Records galore. It's not just for Messi, but for everybody. It's been a wonder to behold. Jungle don't mature. Football has matured. Look, we must not forget. We should not let the final and the joy of Messi, personally for me winning it, can still not overshadow the greatness of the World Cup. It was fantastic. Argentina lost the first match. That in itself was great. I mean, after all the preparation, Messi put an Argentina clause in his contract, and the first match against Saudi Arabia, the shock, I don't really know how he met you, but it was unbelievable. But that is why I now have to give it, to the Argentine team. Their mental strength. Especially in that final. 2 goals up. About 10-15 minutes to go. In 90 plus seconds, it was 2-2. And they did not capitulate. I don't think if I had been in that team, I would have been able to really sustain it. Now went 3-2 up and still couldn't clinch it. I mean, it's just like the script couldn't have been written, but having gone through it, I am doing this for history really. That it happened in my time. The organization of Qatar and the Arab nations was above par. It was wonder everywhere. I listened to David Beckham saying that it was one of the greatest World Cups because fans could watch multiple matches in a day. He mentioned that kids, I wasn't there, but that kids, and you could see kids in the stadium, the security, everybody was comfortable. All the fears of when they won the bid, where did they all go to? And we should please really learn. Because I remember, especially the European countries, when Brazil wanted to host, they were like, it was insecure. It was like, no, we all have these problems. When it was South Africa's time, they were like, you cannot start to continue with this thing that once the World Cup is happening outside Europe, yes, based on standards, we must reconcile. But please, especially the British press, the media, you go looking at some negatives because it's always doom that they're always preaching. And since 2010, the World Cups have always delivered. They have always delivered. And look, it's very funny. But for America, Canada, and Mexico, like when the baton was being handed over to them, the lady confessed that they have set the bar high. That Qatar has set the bar high for America, Canada, and Mexico. Look, it's like a glorious future for me because the bar is really high. Technology came to play in Qatar. The stadiums were, they spent money. I think the only thing that is fair to say, the only way that is fair to say it is, thank you, Qatar, for such a wonderful tournament. It was a spectacle to behold in every sense of the word. And what a final. Now, Argentina winning it, you understand, was what I wanted, especially when Morocco was out, my continent was out. And there's a parliament to it. But what gives me so much joy was Messi's crowning glory. You see, Messi has been on the world stage for long. He's now 35. He's been banging in goals since 17, 18, 19. Near misses, total misses, cries. He actually retired from the Argentine national team. I think that was after 2018. You know, the history itself makes it more interesting. Messi retired from international football. He was now convinced, I think, by another coach, even before this coach came in. Now he doesn't want to retire. But I wish him all the best. But for goats, no goat. You see, the greatest of all time can never just be about one time, like I said. Personally, based on the results of this World Cup, all the accolades of the World Cup, all the adjectives being used, it's only fair that as of the end of 2022, the GOAT in football is Messi. But it does not still mean that is the end of either the discussion or the competition. Forget age. I personally believe that what Ronaldo should just do is just try and, be self-aware about his age, And it's really not about money for him anymore. I really don't think it should be. I mean, because if he wants to play in the next World Cup, yeah, he might be 37. But I remember that Lothar Matthäus played for Germany, I think, at the age of 42. And sportsmen are fitter now. So if he keeps on, playing, just like as Messi has said that he's not yet ready to retire, he can still play in the next World Cup. Portugal too has a fantastic team, but he should try and be, the true captain of that team, because it's not about playing every minute and doing everything and, the noise being about you all the time. Look, if there was no Ronaldo, there will have been no contest. But the contest does not stop because others will come up. When Pele and Maradona were there, I mean, they were the ones we knew. Messi and Ronaldo too have come now, and others will still come after them. It will always just be by choice who you prefer, because the skills, the talent, they are learning more. The kids growing up, look at someone like Foden. He grew up watching some people. Some are watching Messi. Some will be better than them. I'm very sure. But I really think this GOAT business that we're always talking about should rest. Let's just enjoy them. You see, I'm a Messi fan. I used to argue with Ronaldo fans, I grew up with it too, but one thing that I always accepted was, look, they are both exceptional players. You cannot deny that. And even in this 2022 World Cup, I couldn't help but see those runs that makes Ronaldo who he is. You can't just score all those goals by mistakes. By mistake. For you to be there for all these years scoring, but then he just needs to mature. Not blaming him. I'm wishing plus himself, plus Messi, plus every other footballer out there the very best into the future. Don't worry if you didn't win this time. 2026 is coming. And I think it's going to be another wonderful football fiesta. Let's see what America can offer, though. Like everybody knows, and I'm sure everybody knows this, Qatar did set the bar high. Enjoy.